Very good morning. Vijay sir, am I clearly audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yes, sir, there is a little bit disturbance behind you.
Is it fine now, sir?
Yes, now it's fine, sir. Okay. A very good morning to each and everyone present here. Dear participants, today's speaker, Dr. Vijay Tambralimat, Head of the Department, Dr. R. Keshamurthy, faculty members. Today we are in the third day of faculty development program on applications of 3D printing technology in engineering education, funded by AICTE Training and Learning Academy, organized by Department of Mechanical Engineering, Dhanans R College of Engineering. So in yesterday's session, we had very interesting session wherein we saw how 3D printing can be implemented for animal prosthetics and also for patenting by Dr. H. Ramesh. In the last session, we had Dr. Nikhil Singh from New York University, who spoke on the marine applications of 3D printing. Now, to start with today's first session, we have Dr. Vijay Tambralimat, who is our in-house faculty. So, before I start with, I would like to introduce today's speaker to all of you. Dr. Vijay Tambralimat is currently working as assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Automobile Engineering, the Anand Sar College of Engineering. He completed his pre-university from SDM College, Karnataka. His Bachelor's of Engineering was in Automobile Engineering from Basaveshwara Engineering College, Bagalkot, Karnataka. His Master of Technology specialization was Energy System Engineering at BVB College of Engineering, Hubli in the year 2011, and he was a silver medal. He won a silver medal in academics. His work experience include teaching assistants in the same college from 2013 to 14, and later he joined Indian Institute of Technology and Design, Goa, as an assistant professor in mechanical engineering. He worked there for between 2014 to 15. Dr. Vijay Tambarimat joined DSE at 2015 as an assistant professor in automobile engineering at DSE Bangalore till date. To his credits, he has published commendable research papers in reputed journals, conferences, and books. He has received 3 Best Research Paper Award in international conferences and letter of appreciation from NPTEL for mentoring students in various courses. He is a recipient of Young Achiever Award Male 2021 conferred by ISIE India. He is a certified BOSS trainer for engine diagnostic and electric systems. Till date, he has been resource person for 8 AICTE sponsored faculty development program in the field of additive manufacturing. He has published 16 journal articles in the field of additive manufacturing, 7 published book chapters, and participated in 5 international conferences. He has 75 citations till date with 5 H-index through Google Scholar. Today, Sir is going to talk on enhancing engineering education with 3D printing approach, and few of the case studies also he is going to discuss. His research interests are additive manufacturing, polymer nanocomposite, metal matrix composites, and renewable energy. Sir, it's a very great opportunity for me to welcome you for this faculty development program, and I heartfully thank you for accepting our offer and being here with us for this faculty development program. Over to you, sir. Vijay, sir, can you hear me? Vivek sir, please make Dr. Vijay sir as co-host, please. He has been removed as co-host. Sir, you have made somebody else co-host. Please make Vijay P as co-host, sir. Yeah,
Okay.
Vijay sir. Yeah, I once again heartily welcome you to the FTP, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the nice introduction, sir. So I'll share my screen now. I hope my audio is clearly audible to you all.
Yes, sir. Audio is very clear.
Okay. Yes, sir. This is visible.
Yes, sir. Screen is visible.
Yes. Yes. Good morning to everyone. I would like to thank Dr. Keshav Murthy sir for providing me an opportunity to have a session on enhancing engineering education with 3D printing approach and case study discussion of 3D printing in medical sector with its emergence during COVID-19, which is sponsored by ATL and AICTE. So I take this opportunity to just give away certain knowledge points or certain work or case studies that have been carried out with respect to additive manufacturing, which is also known as 3D printing, which has been emerged in a recent past and has made a very vast or a very wide form of entry into different sectors of our day-to-day activities. So we'll just go through this, what is going to happen in the sector of education and medical with respect to additive manufacturing. So my discussion on today's topic will be classified into two categories. The first part, I'll be concentrating on engineering education using 3D printing. So how we are going or how we have already utilized 3D printing in education, or what are the future opportunities that are there as an engineer uh, to have or to explore their field of study with respect to additive manufacturing. Similarly, the second concept is going to be, or second part of the discussion is going to be focused on 3D printing in medical sector. So here, a large and vast amount of studies, also the utilization of implants, prosthetics, and other parts with respect to medical industry is already utilized and is already being implemented to different levels of patients. So we will just go through this, how it is being happening, and the different case studies with respect to this also we will be going through. So in the first part, we will be briefly understanding the learning skills, what is design thinking, what is 3D printing in education, and case studies where they have already implemented this and what are the outcomes, and finally the conclusion part. So coming to engineering education using 3D printing. So first and foremost, 3D printing came into existence in the last decade, somewhere in 2010 and 2011. It has gained a vast credibility with respect to its utilization in different sectors. So education is one sector where 3D printing has also played a very major role. So nowadays, with respect to either new education policy in India or different kinds of education policies across the globe, so the implementation and improvisation of education has to happen, and it is happening. So we are focusing towards the skilled centered students rather than mugging up and giving the answers. We are looking for the students who are very much highly skilled, who are able to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So here is a famous quote by Alvin Toffler, who is the author of The Future Shock. He says that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So this is not only for students, it is even for the working practitioners in different sectors. So until and unless we learn, unlearn, and relearn, we are not going to survive in this kind of domain what we are living today. And hence 3D printing is a new domain where every people in every sector have to have their hands-on experience or have to have the knowledge about this sector for ease of their work or to understand the different concepts in a better manner. So, what are the learning skills that are required in the present century? So, 21st century learning and innovation skills are the skills that will be essential for students to possess to thrive in the increasingly complex life and work environments in the 21st century. So here, the schooling system or the education system, what was previously is not the same today. So it is drastically changing. So certain things what we expect to have in a student are creativity and innovation, critical thinking and problem solving abilities, a better communicator, and also a better collaborator. So if these four qualities are considered to be a primary set of qualities which a student needs to have with respect to improve his learning skills. So then what is design thinking? How do we achieve the previous learning skills what we have seen? How do we achieve those? So one of the most easiest way or one of the most talked about matter or talked about topic of improving the skills or enhancing the capabilities of an individual is through design thinking. So design thinking is not a new concept. It was already into existence, but the term design thinking came into existence very recently. So design thinking is originally, it comes about as a way of teaching engineers or students how to approach problems creatively like designers do. So design thinking was basically adapted or it was enclosed only to the designers. But now the method which they followed to get out the solution of any kind of problems, it has emerged itself to all the sectors and in teaching as well as in engineering and medical or whatever sector we take, design thinking is a part of that system where a problem is defined to identify the solution in a very apt manner. So this design thinking basically has five phases or modes. They are empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. So these are the five basic categories which are involved in design thinking. So what's special about design thinking? It is that designers' work processes can help us systematically extract, teach, learn, as well as apply these human centered techniques to solve problems in a creative and innovative way in our designs, in our businesses, in our nations, and also in our lives. So these categories of understanding with respect to design thinking, if we apply each one of them in a definite proportion, in a definite manner, then we can easily be a part of what designers do and come out with a very innovative ideas. So all great innovators in literature, either art or music, science, engineering or business, they have practiced it and still practice it. So whatever a piece of art or literature or engineering design or a new prototype or a model, whatever we see, it is all because of the design thinking. It is an out of box thinking what comes into the picture of a practitioner who has synthesized or imbibed these qualities within himself. So we'll just see this picture. Here it is, there is a bridge which is having a clearance of 12 feet, and this is a loaded one which is having a greater height than that of the clearance, and it could not pass easily underneath this bridge. So here a group of different kinds of people like artists, then engineers, then social workers, so all group of peoples had come to solve this problem. So here this was the basic thing what we can see here. If we understand the story, then we can know how simple it is to implement design thinking with out of box thinking. So what the story basically tells us is, this basically tells us to think outside the box. So if we are thinking outside the box or something innovative, then we can quickly provide the solutions without much investment or without much necessity work to be involved in it. So thinking outside the box can be real challenge as we naturally develop patterns of thinking that are modeled on the repetitive activities and commonly assessed knowledge we surround ourselves with. Some years ago, this incident occurred where a truck driver tried to pass under a low bridge, but he failed and the truck was lodged firmly under the bridge. The driver was unable to continue driving through or reverse out. The story goes that as the truck stuck, it caused massive traffic problem, which resulted in emergency personnel, engineers, firefighters, and truck drivers gathering to devise and negotiate various solutions for dislodging the trapped vehicle. So these were the group of people who had come across in large number to solve this problem. Emergency workers were debating whether to dismantle parts of the truck or chip away at parts of the bridge. Each spoke of a solution which fitted within his or her perspective level of expertise. So each individual with his own background had their own solution. A boy walking by and witnessing the intense debate looked at the truck at the bridge and then looked at the road and said that why not just let the air out of these tires? To the absolute amazement of all the specialists and experts trying to unpick the problem. So one passerby, a small boy, just hearing out what the problem was, he just gave a solution that why can't we just unair the tires which are completely filled with the air and then try to pass this. So once he said that, all these engineers, designers, drivers, whoever were there with a large amount of debate, they all were stunned with this solution. So this simple boy, he had a clear concept of understanding with respect to the actual problem that he just gave a very simple solution, and this is considered to be an out of box thinking. When the solution was tested, the truck was able to drive free with ease, having suffered only the damage caused by its initial attempt to pass underneath the bridge. The story symbolizes the struggle we face, where oftentimes the most obvious solutions are those the ones hardest to come by because of all self-imposed constraints we work within. So we always try to think what for every problem there is a complicated solution, but if we look or try to analyze it in a different manner, then the solution would be very much easier when we have a slight touch of design thinking. So design thinking is not a linear process, it is a cyclic process. So it is a continuous improvement where the results are reviewed, it is questioned, it has an option to improve over the initial assumption, it has the benefit of understanding the overall working, and finally the results are put out. So here the picture clearly tells us the question or the problem is stated, it is well defined within the framework, and it is ideated like different options are found out how we can go ahead with this. When the prototype model are developed, then it is tested. If the test results are not fine, then again we go back to the initial phase or to the ideation phase. If the problem formation is fine, then we go back to the ideating phase. So like this, it is a cyclic process. We can go on repeating and continuously improve the solutions to a required problem with the help of design thinking. So the benefits of learning design thinking is being able to identify problems and reframe them as an actionable opportunity. So whenever a problem is going to arise, so then it is considered to be an opportunity to come out with respect to a certain solution. So the value of collaboration and feedback will be very highly understood by the group of people who are going to work in this. Setbacks and failures as valuable learning moments, appreciating the value of hard work and persistence. So, developing self belief as problem solvers, developing empathy, developing a growth mindset, developing stamina and resilience, entrepreneurial and community minded behaviors, a focus that is both future and solution oriented. So, if a student or a learner is made to have the concepts of design thinking, then these are the things which he will be gaining once he is well versed with the concepts of design thinking. So if you think the pace of change in the workplace has been fast lately, hold on your hats. A new report published by Dell Technologies says things are about to get a lot faster. So nowadays we say everything is changing so fast, right? But a survey by a Dell and a report, a study which says that 85% of the jobs that will exist in 2030 haven't even been invented yet. estimates this report, which was authored by the Institute of the Future and a panel of 20 tech, business, and academic experts across the globe. So the pace of change will be so rapid that people will learn in the moment using new technologies such as augmented reality and virtual reality. The ability to gain new knowledge will be more valuable than the knowledge itself. In other words, we need to get ready for a lifetime of skills training and retraining in the real time. So in the future, in the near term, say in another 10 years of time, so the people will stop chasing the jobs and work will chase people depending upon the skills that has been imbibed inside them. So how do we implement this 3D printing technology with respect to design thinking in education? So what are the benefits with respect to design thinking and inclusion of 3D printing? So creating inventors is the first thing. 3D printing technology, it positions learners as creators. So their learners are no more learners, they are going to be creators. Instead of buying or consuming the creation of someone else, they become inventors who can identify needs and create solutions. Given the right tools, resources, and support, what amazing inventions could your students create? So if you teach them the methods of 3D printing and the methods of design thinking, then the innovative ideas and the innovative solutions that come up with respect to students will be highly unimaginable. So the solutions will be so powerful that we ourselves would not be able to think in such a manner. Although art is already making a bit of comeback with the advent in education, 3D printing will help catapult it to the top. With 3D printing, students become designers and creators using cutting edge technology to visualize and create their own imaginations. Not to mention the growth students will have in their spatial reasoning skills and 2D to 3D conversion understanding, which has been found to be a predictor of future success. So, a student who is imbibed with respect to 3D printing, his reasoning skills, his spatial reasoning skills, and ability to analyze the conversion of forms from 2D to 3D models will always be gained with this. 3D printing is still a very new technology that is not readily available to average consumer. It has a wow factor that can engage students who would otherwise have nothing to do with their learning. So this is not implemented widely across the schools or the universities. So in one of the schools, a teacher, Robin Maggins, a teacher at North Elementary School in Canada, who have implemented this 3D printing in their curriculum, what they have said is, this has been a wonderful new way to teach and motivate my students. They are so eager and excited to learn in this new way. The overall enthusiasm towards school and learning has increased tremendously. Students who are typically reluctant learners have come to life. One student was chronically absent and has now improved his attendance. He asks me each morning if he can get on the computer. So this is one simple benefit what a teacher has identified in a student by introducing 3D printing into the curriculum. So the fourth point is creating responsible digital citizens. So using 3D printing in the classroom will allow the students to become a part of growing online community dedicated to 3D printing. Already we have now a large database of 3D designs which are easily available in an online platform. Specifically, the Makers Empire. So this is one platform where students have the ability to like and comment to their peers' designs, inspiring insightful discussion about online activities and how to be a responsible digital citizen. So student will learn how to collaborate and go ahead with respect to their peers who are working in the same sector. So they will learn to appreciate the designs or comment on the designs, and they will have overall the structural behavior of how to behave in an online platform. Everything can be hands-on. So with respect to 3D printing, we can make everything hands-on. Learning about either it may be a learning about ancient societies, design and print a model of a mummy or a pyramid, learning about landforms, design and print a peninsula or a mountain range, learning about natural disasters, design and print tools to protect you from problems arising from natural disasters, or it may be a prototype of any of the gear mechanisms. So anything, whatever we have in the concepts with respect to our theoretical, the same thing can be printed and everyone can have a hands-on experience with respect to this. So this build 3D printing ties between different grade levels. So different schools across the globe have tried this and different universities have already implemented this. And the Anand Sagar College of Engineering is one of the foremost colleges in Karnataka to implement this in the curriculum of all the students whoever are joining engineering in the Anand Sagar College of Engineering. So a survey in one of the Australian school, by partnering up students to work on a 3D printing challenge together or use 3D printing to raise funds for a local hospital like one Canadian school. A rural Australian school had 840 members of the school community to design their own 3D printed blocks that combined to create commemorative school sculpture, which was an amazing feat. A friendly school-wide 3D printing competition is also a great way to build the school moral or an university moral. So now we have the different kinds of tech fest that are coming in engineering universities across the globe, where the design concept is given to the participants and they can use any form of printing methods or manufacturing methods, and they have to come out with a very innovative ideas so that it can be easily implemented in the sector where they are going to use it. So the same case study was given by General Electric, where they wanted a bracket for their jet engine, and they rolled out this design concept to the public, and almost 112 countries participated in it, among which 28% were Indians, and they had given an open source kind of design concept where they can use any kind of manufacturing system, and they had kept a prize money for the same. And the prize money that was won was for the design of the bracket, which was developed using additive manufacturing process. The weight was drastically reduced to 96% with the initial weight that was being used by GE. So like this, giving out the ideas to the public will result in a huge amount of benefits with respect to the results that are being obtained. So 3D printing will also help in solving real world problems. So 3D printing is a technology that scientists and engineers are using to change the world. Put that same technology into the hands of your students and introduce them to some of the challenge facing your universal file formats, facing your community. They will learn empathy, teamwork, and problem solving as you set them loose on a real world problem. So, any kind of problems that we face nowadays, either it may be rainwater harvesting or it may be a small solution with respect to the machining process that we conduct in variety of experiments. So any kind of problems which we are unable to solve, if we give those problems, a community level problems to a student to and give them a brief idea of what the solution should be, they would really come out with a different kinds of ideas and also develop a product or a prototype or an actual working model with respect to this. So whatever imagination they have, they can be printed with help of 3D printing itself. No other manufacturing process can benefit or can be used for the development of these kinds of ideas or innovations. So revolutionizing the classroom. So 3D printing, if we is implemented in different sectors of studies, then it can be used in different sectors. 3D printers have actually been around for about 30 years. Barriers like cost are breaking down. So they are now becoming available to the public. So there are different categories of 3D printing machines, among which fuse deposition modeling, which is a process of one of the categories of additive manufacturing is available at a very low price, and hence it has been used vastly by large community to develop their ideas and ideate them to different levels. So the printed objects can be incredibly intricate. They can also be created with working components, hinges, and parts within parts. So we need not assemble the different parts like in different machining process. With the help of additive manufacturing, a whole part can be easily developed. Engineering and design students can print out prototypes of their creation. So we have different kinds of projects with respect to engineering studies. So each of these projects, the prototype model can be easily developed with the engineering sector. Architecture students could easily print out 3D printing models of their designs. History classes could print out historic artifacts for closer examination. Graphic design students could create 3D versions of their artwork. Students in geography course could print out maps showing the topography. Cooking class students could design intricate molds for ice and gelatins. Auto class students could print replacement or modified parts which are required for automobiles. Chemistry students could print out molecules to study. Biology students can study cross section of hearts and other organs. So you name the sector, the 3D printing can be easily visualized and it can be used to either print a prototype, either print a innovative solution, or to print an actual working model for a particular solution. So 3D printing has caught the attention of educators who are looking into ways of incorporating it into the classroom. So the different engineering sectors, if we focus on how do we use this in an engineering sector, automobile students could print or replace modified car parts. Medical students can study the cross section of the organs. Chemistry students could 3D print molecules to study. Engineering students can design and test prototypes, products, working models of their creation. Biotechnology students can print out cells, viruses, organs, and other biological artifacts. So similarly, civil engineering students can print prototypes of their construction designs. Cookery students can print cake molds. Architectural students can print and reiterate their 3D models within a short time. Like 3D rendering, how they do, the similarly, the model can be developed for the better understanding to their clients. So now we'll just look how 3D printing has already been implemented in variety of education sectors. A significant use of 3D printing at universities in the sciences, where 3D models are created to support student learning in the lab or classroom. So basic fundamental idea of utilization of 3D printing is for the better understanding or better communicating the concepts with respect to models to the students. So 3D printing can be used to create test models for experiments. This also includes test specimens for learning about the mechanical properties of materials. 3D printed polymer test models have been demonstrated to be appropriate for this purpose in engineering curricula, and mechanical tests have been incorporated into an undergraduate capstone research course in the Mechanical Engineering Science Department at the University of Johannesburg. So if as a mechanical student, if he wants to identify the strength of the polymers, then development of a material, a new kind of polymer material or a reinforced polymer, that can be easily done with respect to 3D printing. Whatever kind of material or innovative material a student has in his mind, he can easily print it with respect to 3D modeling, and he can test and compare the results with respect to different polymer materials. And this, with respect to polymer, is already implemented in the curriculum in the University of Johannesburg. So, MSc graduate student in the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering at the University of Belgrade used 3D printed components during fan and turbo compressor experiments, and fourth year aerospace engineering undergraduates at Technion Israel Institute of Technology created different configuration of wing spoilers and measured their effect using 3D printed models in wind tunnels. So different kinds of students and different kinds of universities are using this 3D printing into their syllabus, and they are coming out with different forms of understanding, different forms of designs, different forms of experiments. Similarly, an MSc in mechanical engineering at Politecnico di Tornio in Italy, it was found that incorporating 3D printing in a project learning environment improved student attitudes towards mechanical engineering. In particular, it was found that the use of 3D printing provided positive student feedback in relation to student motivation, understanding, interest, and education. So, this 3D printing basically plays a very important role in bringing out the ideas to physical form. So in the previous days or in the previous years, when there was 3D printing was not in the picture, so whatever ideas or designs we would have would be there at a last stage in the CAD model. So after the CAD model, if we want to manufacture it or bring it to a physical form, then it had to undergo different kinds of manufacturing process. But with respect to 3D printing, the CAD model or the design ideas or the innovative ideas, whatever a learner has, and if it can be modeled in the CAD model, then it can be easily developed into a physical model using 3D printing. So because of this, the ideation into production form will lead to the motivation of students, better understanding, and increases the interest in the education sector. Griffith University Product Design Studio, the integrated adoption of 3D printing into first year teaching syllabus has had three main benefits. So, like Dayanand Sagar College of Engineering, the Griffith University has also introduced the concepts of 3D printing and product design studio. So the feedback collected from the students had given us, it has promoted student-centered learning and led to observable improvements in students' work. It has changed the relationship between the student and lecturers as e-learning has taken place. It links students' learning to their ethical responsibilities in the world, such as environmental sustainability. So, the survey was done by the Griffith University and introducing this 3D printing concept in the first year curriculum. These were the feedbacks or the responses that they collected with respect to the questionnaire given to the student. So these are the three main benefits of using 3D printing in a product design studio. University of North Georgia's Department of Computer Science and Information System, which has integrated 3D printing into the computer graphic course so that students can develop modeling, scanning, and rapid prototyping skills. So not only in the sector of mechanical engineering, I have taken large examples of mechanical engineering, but variety of engineering sectors are using 3D printing for the purpose of their study, for the purpose of understanding, for the purpose of research, and many other things. So here we have one case study with respect to geoscience engineering. So they developed a 3D printing short course, a case study for application in the geoscience teaching and communication for specialists and non-experts. So here they did a kind of survey by introducing a course, a short course, a one-day course on 3D printing. So this course was given to whom? To the people who had no prior knowledge of 3D printing. So they had devised this course. So this case study was aimed at evaluating how a diverse group of participants with geoscience and engineering background and no prior experience to the CAD models or 3D printing could understand the principles of 3D printing techniques and apply these methods in their respective disciplines. So this course basically focused for the people who had no idea of CAD modeling or 3D printing. So they wanted to study how 3D printing could help them to implement this topic or this study into their field of interest. So this course, whatever they had given, it had 5 modules. It included an introduction lecture on 3D printing methods and different kinds of materials that are used. Module 2 consisted of an individual CAD modeling exercise. Module 3, a tour of 3D printing facilities with hands-on experience on model processing. Module 4, a tour of experimentation facilities where 3D printed models were tested. And fifth module was group activity based on examples of how to apply 3D printing in the correct or future research and teaching. So these are the 5 basic modules which they covered in a single day. The participants had a unique opportunity to create a digital design at the beginning of the course using CAD software, analyze it and 3D print it and also test it for the outcome at the end of the course, and also form a group and learn of how to utilize this 3D printing technology in their interest of study. So initially the course when it was designed, so why they consider 3D printing is it is because of creativity and design skills, digital model repositories, testing ideas and concepts, missing data reproduction, tangible data replication, and also used as a method of teaching and learning. It's sorry. So the short course took place at the University of Alberta, Edmonton, Canada, and involved 50 participants. So when this survey was done, there were 50 participants who took this course. So the outcomes of the course were defined as to understand the capabilities and limitations of different 3D printing techniques, to demonstrate how digitally designed 3D printed models using CAD software, web platforms, and computer tomography data to provide the assessment of digital models and their relative replicas 3D printed from real data, to characterize how 3D printing can increase the effectiveness of teaching and data communication. So before the start of the course, these were the outcomes that were defined by the universities, and through the questionnaire, they used to analyze whether each of these outcomes would be met. So here the progress was happening. These were the photographs which you can see here. This was happening during the presentation of different modules. So in module 1, they were introduced to the fundamentals of 3D printing and its basic operating principles, advantages and disadvantages of this technology, performance and functional constraints of 3D printing for specific applications. So here, picture A, what you see. So this is the first module, what was being analyzed for. Module 2, coming to module 2 here, complete 3D printing sequence of designing, fabricating, and measuring models. Source of mismatch between digital and 3D printed models were explained. In module 3, causes of errors, irregularities in 3D printed models, hands-on experience of 3D printing in class for improved student understanding of subject matter. So here you see hands-on experience for every participant was being given. So every student printed the model, and the different errors or different methods to print it, different categories of understanding was analyzed in this. And in module 4, important 3D printing research challenges, resources for support experiments for teaching and classroom projects were discussed. So here, participant is testing for the model that has been developed. And in module 5, understanding if humans learn better when using 3D printed models, current and future 3D printed applications. So in module 5, the participants were analyzed whether through the development of models, their understanding capability would be enhanced or would it remain same, and what are the future applications of 3D printing. So this is one of the uh, very nice course that has been developed for the study and understanding of 3D printing into education sector. So outcomes of the study goes in this manner. So who attended this short course? So undergraduate students formed 18.2%, whereas graduate students formed 48.5%, and remaining were postdoctoral fellows, faculty, support staff, technician, visiting professor, and research associates. So it was an amalgamation of different peoples from different backgrounds. So recommended this course to others. So 97% of the participants recommended this course to others. It means 3D printing has gained certain kind of interest among 97% of the participants who had participated in this without the prior knowledge of CAD modeling or 3D printing. So they took a survey of how well the course materials or e-booklets or slides were with respect to the modules that they framed. So among which large number of people agreed to course materials were visually appealing, course objectives were clearly outlined, activities were clearly defined by the instructors, and course materials were useful complement. So green part what you see here is agree. So large proportion of participants agreed to all these questionnaires, whatever was given with respect to course material. With respect to course content, again, we can see here the agreeable proportion is high when compared to others. Strongly agree is also greater in one of the questionnaire. The lectures and modules were cohesive. The tour of Elco Garage improved my understanding of 3D printing process. The course will assist me in integrating 3D printing in my research, teaching, and other endeavors. So this agree and strongly agree is very high over here. So it means the participants who were introduced to 3D printing, they had understood that this can be implemented in their field of research or teaching or whatever sectors they were working in. So I feel motivated to learn about 3D printing technology. Agree and strongly agree again were on the higher range. I have better understanding of 3D printing processes and applications. I would be interested in advanced 3D printing course. So if you look at these outcomes, then 3D printing would surely play a major role in whatever sector a person is working. Either it may be education or it may be learning or it may be printing or research or whatever it is. So the overall objectives, the outcomes were achieved or not. To that, the questionnaires over here and the module-wise points were averaged with respect to Likert scale for a maximum point of 5. And most of them had a greater than 3 points here somewhere. This is for module 1 to explain geological concepts to generalist audience with no prior knowledge. So this had 3.08, whereas wherever the concepts of 3D printing, utilization of CAD software, 3D printing, and interaction with the formation of groups had a greater points. So it means all the outcomes were reached. One or two were in average form and others were at a very great form. So this is how the printing is going to happen with respect to geoscience, and optical imaging is done, or CT scanning. Any form of model can be taken and it has to be given to the 3D printing by converting into .stl format, and the 3D model would be printed. So we can print different kinds of models with respect to 3D printing. Either it may be now we have sent our satellites to Mars or to the moon or to different any kind of spatial objects. So the pictures have been sent by these satellites to our systems over here on the Earth. So if we want to analyze what actually it is, how it is, then we can easily convert these pictures to the 3D models and study over here how the surface over there is, what are the different kinds of topographies that are included. If we are sending a next machine, what should be included in it. So all these things could be analyzed easily with respect to space application as well. So coming to the end of this first part, so 3D printing is an emerging technology in education sector that provides additional teaching support, enhances technical communication using visual aids, and enables repeatable experimentation in research. So we can go on doing our research until and unless we are satisfied with the results. Or if we feel the enhancement of the results could be done with respect to addition of certain things, then it can be easily carried out without much involvement of the cost or time. The implementation of 3D printing is very useful for a diverse group of participants, including professors, students, postdoctoral fellows, and technicians. 3D printing in academics helps transform students being passive consumers to active creators. Introducing new technologies in the curriculum stimulates engagement and interactivity, even for the students who are coping with theoretical aspects of education. So we identify weak students and strong students, right? So weak students can be motivated by implementation of 3D printing in certain aspects with respect to engineer curriculum. Observation by leading educators have suggested that using 3D printers promotes development of problem-solving skills and skills of persistence and prowess to overcome challenges. Schools, universities, and other educational institutes how to introduce a curriculum based around 3D printing. So this is how the advancement of 3D printing is going to be achievable at a very greater extent with respect to an education sectors, how already certain universities and schools have implemented and how others are in line with respect to this implementation. So the second part of our discussion goes to 3D printing in medical sector and its emergence during COVID-19, right? So in the last 2 years, how 3D printing has helped a vast sector of population with the manufacturing, with the 3D printing as a manufacturing unit. So 3D printing, as we discussed earlier, it is a powerful tool for visualizing complex human or animal anatomies and can be used for surgical planning, physician and patient education, medical procedure training, medical device prototyping, and personalized medical device manufacturing. So if we focus on 3D printing with respect to medical sector, so then these are the fields where we can easily implement it for a better understanding. For doctors, it helps in surgical planning. For the patients to better understand what they are facing, a physical model will be better for the physician to explain and for the patient to understand. Medical procedure training to the students, to the medical graduates, whoever are learning medical. So for them, the training procedure would become very easy with respect to 3D printing models. Medical device prototyping, and also in development of certain implants, a complicated implant which has to be inserted in different organs of our body that can be printed according to the suitability of every individual using 3D printing. If it was a conventional manufacturing system, then the implants what was already manufactured with respect to an average size of an individual that would be inserted as an implant to all the patients. However, with the advent of 3D printing, this has been wiped out and will be wiped out completely. And whatever implants have to be done, it would be patient specific. We are in the middle of chaotic, active, and exciting period where low-end 3D printing has flooded the market community. So in the last 5 to 6 years in India, we have seen large number of 3D players coming into market. So where they are using fused deposition modeling as one machine, where it can be utilized for greater extent. However, now metal additive manufacturing are also coming into picture. 3D printing is routinely utilized for product prototyping, still the most common use of 3D printing. So anybody who asks what 3D printing is used for, the first response you would get is it is for 3D printing. However, this is being changing now, but a large proportion is still with respect to prototyping, where the other sectors are slowly moving to the parts which can be utilized, which can be used as a working model with respect to certain objects. Some inroads are being made in manufacturing application, particularly for low volume complex parts. In the midst of this, medical application of 3D printing are just starting to emerge. So this is one of the graph that I got when I visited a PubMed website and gave 3D printing as a keyword, 3D printing as a keyword. Then you can see here in 2000, it was in single digit, the number of papers that were published with respect to 3D printing in medical sector. It was in a single digit. Until 2010, it was somewhere around 50s or 60s. In 2015, it was less than 500. And from 2015 to 2020, you can see how the drastic interest of researchers in 3D printing in medical sector has happened. And today in 2020, until date, we have nearly 4,500 of research publications with respect to 3D printing in medical sector. So this alone will give us the idea of how 3D printing is going to excel in the medical sector. So the application of 3D printing can be seen in variety of sectors as we discussed, like engineering and design, consumer products, manufacturing, education, aerospace, medical, movies, theaters, architecture, fashion, and anything else, you name it, 3D printing is already being utilized. A major shoe manufacturing company, Nike, has already started developing its soles with 3D printing. A fashion technology, one of the famous fashionists in Paris has developed one of the designer clothes using 3D printing. Similarly, with respect to consumer products, the markets like bakeries and a chocolate factory are trying to utilize 3D printing for gaining the attraction of the children for their variety or designed products that can be easily printed using 3D printing technology. So coming to medical sector, where all we can implement this 3D printing with respect to medical application. So it can be in bioprinting of tissues and organs, unique dosage forms with respect to pharmacy, personalized drug dosing. So one general concept, what we have already come across many of us is during the times of COVID-19. So if we have a symptom of COVID-19, then we would consume a tablet which was generally mentioned to everyone. Either it may be Dolo 650 or ivermectin or whatever it is, irrespective whether we need it or we do not need it, with respect to the general the data what we had in the social media and in the news and everywhere, we consume this. But this is not necessary for everyone. Depending upon what symptom you have, only particular quantity of certain chemicals can be induced into this drug and can be prepared. This is possible using 3D printing technology. However, this requires a large amount of time still to be implemented in a greater form. Complex drug release profile. So this is another form where 3D printing can be used. Customized implants and prostheses, anatomical models for surgical preparations. So these are uh, six sectors, major sectors where in medical sector where 3D printing can be easily implemented. So now the general form of 3D printing, how do we 3D print a model? We have understood in the previous two sessions yesterday and day before yesterday. But here, with respect to medical system, we have slightly a different form of manufacturing with respect to 3D printing. So you see here, the first medical image is captured. So this basically happens either with CT scan or MRI scan. Then we have to undergo segmentation. Then 3D digital model will be developed. Once it is approved, then the model is going to be printed. So that this is not as simple as what we develop a mechanical model for tensile testing or wear testing, where we develop a model in any of the CAD software, then convert it into .stl format, then take it to an slicing software. We slice it depending upon our requirements and finally give it to a printer. Here, it is not going to happen in this manner. The first step is to acquire high resolution medical image, commonly from CT scan or MRI. So CT scan is a high resolution. MRI is having a higher resolution when compared to CT scan. But however, CT scan images can also be used. So here the comparatively low spatial resolution of readily available clinical 3D ultrasound imaging limits its application for 3D printing. So this is one of the very interesting applications of 3D printing. So this has not happened in India, but one of the website has mentioned this, the ultrasound scanning of the fetus, whatever is there in the mother's womb. So the ultrasound scanning will be done of that. So this ultrasound scanning image is being captured. Using this images, the model of the baby starting from first month until the 8th month or a 9th month has been developed using the image that has been captured by ultrasound. So here see how the implementation of 3D printing is going beyond our imagination. So we had never thought the ultrasound images of a baby could be developed into a model. So this becomes a memory for the person who is carrying it, or it may become a kind of study for the physician who is analyzing the pregnant woman or something like that. So this paves a large amount of path with respect to the different applications of 3D printing. So medical images, so the medical images, whatever we get either in CT scan form or MRI form or through ultrasound, so they come in a format known as DICOM format. DICOM means digital imaging and communications in medicine. So like how we have JPG file, like that the imaging comes in DICOM file format or data sets. So for an anatomic scan, the DICOM file is set to stacked 2D images, each making up a cross section or a slice, what we call, through a given anatomic region of a body. So this DICOM file, whatever we have, it is a stacking or placing of each of the 2D layers one above the other. Whatever scan we do, that is placed one above the other in the 2D data set form. The next step is the process is to create 3D surface models. So once this DICOM is done, a 3D surface model is being created using different kinds of softwares. Basically, we have a software known as Mimix from a company known as Materialize, which is again a very famous company in 3D printing sector, or Snap software. Another large amount of softwares we have to convert this. Either it may, many of them are in open form, many other in a paid form as well. So during segmentation, a label is assigned to each pixel of the image that is being captured. For example, when segmenting an image of the heart, one pixel is one image slice might be assigned the label heart wall. So if we have an image of a heart, then we are going to segment it. So here each segment or each pixel is given a naming, like a slice is assigned as a heart wall, while the neighboring pixel might be a blood that is flowing inside that wall or something like that. So each pixel will be given a name. The typical outputs of the segmentation process are 3D structures of all the pixels that share the same anatomic label. So combining all this, we will form a one 3D model. Segmentation is a step that takes place the most time in the overall 3D printing process in medical sector, and it generally requires manual intervention by an expert user to precisely define various anatomic structures and thus determine the exact boundaries separating one specific structure from the neighboring structure. So any person who is capable of CAD modeling could not would not be easily able to develop the 3D model with respect to the image that have been captured, either with respect to CT scan or MRI scan. Here we require an intervention of an expert physician or a doctor or whoever he is, so that it can be easily identify the boundary at where a certain part is going to end and what has to be clubbed with what. So for these understanding, we need to have expert intervention in this process. So here the process is repeated in successive image slice in a stack until all slices that contain the structure are processed. So now, with respect to the advancement, with respect to new technologies like machine learning and artificial intelligence are coming into existence, they will be providing great automation with respect to development of 3D models with respect to slicing or 3D modeling of a medical image. So once this image is set, segmented into anatomic structure, the smoothing and interpolation is sometimes needed to fix deficiencies from the original image file. So here and there would be a certain gap or some fixation is required. So this can be accomplished with the tools such as 3Matic from Materialize or Mesh Mixer from Autodesk. So there are many other forms. So these are most widely used. So this is how it is being developed. So once the 3D digital model is done, the image set is being segmented. Yeah. So this, once it is done and smoothing is done and meshing, everything is fixed, it is given to a printing model. So the last step here is ultimately prepare the STL file for 3D printing. Finally, for the printing of medical images, also we require it to be converted to STL format. From DICOM format to STL format conversion will take place. So this is done with slicing software that is supported by printer being used. So depending upon what kind of printer we use, the slicing software is being used and there the slicing is done. So these tools enable us to select the scale of the printed part, print orientation, material and infill that has to be used, printing speed, and many other print specific parameters. So this is the last step. So once all this is given in the slicing software, this file is being fed to a 3D printer and the model starts printing depending on what properties you are going to define with respect to the file in a slicing software. So why do we require additive manufacturing with respect to medical industry? So here you see the models of heart on the right side. These are all the models of heart. So these 3D printed heart showing a range of heart condition used for educational purposes, which is at University of Minnesota. So traditional plastic models of a generic heart have long been used for teaching. 3D printing enables models of patient-specific hearts, for example, those with specific cardiac conditions and congenital defects. So now, previously what they did was there was a plastic models of heart, right? So one heart, and they would explain the different parts of the heart to the students of medical. But now we can develop a particular model with respect to what has to be there for a specific patient. Suppose he has a cardiac condition, a specific cardiac condition or a congenital defect, then that can be developed and it can be explained to the student so that they get to know what actually the problem is and how to overcome this problem with respect to different kinds of solutions. Because complex problems to treat advanced heart disease often involve a heart with unique anatomic features that are challenging to interpret from a flat CT or MRI files, 3D printing can be a valuable tool for planning interventional procedures, right? So through MRI or CT scan, we get the 2D formats. We cannot easily analyze, or the medical practitioner cannot be clearly able to identify himself or herself how to operate this case with respect to the 2D files that we have. So this, if is converted into a 3D model, then the understanding of the case will become very easy and the procedure, what has to be done, can be pre-planned in a very short span of time. So hospitals around the world are creating in-house 3D printing service labs with the expectation that a good share of service activity will revolve around cardiac cases and that such models are printed in a timely manner. So one of the hospital in Punjab had recently had this facility of 3D printing, and NIT Warangal is one place where researchers are collaborated with hospitals to develop the models with respect to heart. Quite often, students in laboratory have the unique opportunity to engage in learn by painting exercise, where they identify and paint structures of a 3D printed arm. So this is basically for the students who are at still a lower level, who want to identify or who have an ambition to go into the medical sector. So for them to basically understand or have an in-depth knowledge of different parts of an organs, so that can be used for painting. So here is one case. So newborn sisters were attached from chest to navel, a condition known as thoraco-omaloophagus, and were separated in a 9-hour procedure. So these there were two sisters, and from chest to navel, almost half body was attached to them except face and the part below the trunk. So that heart was also completely attached to each other. So this model you see, so this is the heart of two sisters which are attached to each other. So doctors had to operate them and make sure that each one would have their heart respectively without damaging their life. So this took the doctors about 9 hours of procedure to complete. The University of Minnesota's Earl E. Bakken Medical Device Center provided the virtual reality visualization resource, and Alex Maxon, PhD candidate, is a visible heart laboratory, created 3D printed models of the two hearts. So this is through the image. A 3D model was printed by a PhD candidate, and the operation was done at University of Minnesota by Early Bacon Medical Device Center, doctors of that center. So with the development of this heart as a 3D model, the group of doctors who would operate this had a very clear picture of how to go ahead with this operation. And this complete operation was completed in a 9 hour of time. Without the understanding of this heart structure, when you cut a body, if you get to know this is the structure, then it would be very difficult to take the decisions at that interval of time. So 3D printing has played a very major role in this case. So here on the right side, you see 3D printed stent inside a 3D printed vessel to examine fit and function. Again, this is from Visible Heart Laboratory, University of Minnesota. So here you see like silver kind of thing, which is again 3D printed. This outer wall also is 3D printed, and the stent inside it is also 3D printed. So this was printed to a patient specific thing, so that to study how the fit would be and how efficiently it would work. So this is the case where students learn by painting the different parts. So if you want to understand where are the veins, where are the arteries, what is left ventricle, right auricle, so how does the blood come from the lungs or other processes, whatever we have with respect to heart, if a student has to identify it properly, then it can be easily done with respect to hands-on experience with respect to painting different parts with respect to particular thing. So this is one example where students are learning heart anatomy by painting 3D models. So in another study, urology clinicians frequently reported that their patients did not fully understand their medical status, especially with respect to kidney related things. We do not have a particular idea with respect to what has to be done or what is happening inside our organ. So most of the patients do not have that idea, and it becomes very difficult for the physicians to explain this either through CT scan images or MRI images. The kidney models were printed in a clear resin with red vessels and tumors. So in one particular case where a patient need to be explained with respect to what his condition was, so the 3D model was clearly printed by taking the 2D images through CT or MRI. So here you see the CT scan of a patient, BNC. This is an MRI image or a CT image, and this is a 3D model that is being printed. Here you see it is colored differently. Vessels and renal mass are in red, and this is the tumor that has come out of the kidney. So this for the explanation to the patient, for the physician also it was easy, and the patient would also clearly understand what the problem was. So we'll just see a small video of how additive manufacturing is used in medical sector, and then we'll go ahead.
My name is Shakir Mustafa. I'm one of the oral and maxillofacial surgeons at Cumtaf University Health Board. My role also spans an educational commitment, being honorary senior lecturer at Cardiff University and the current chair of the Norman Rowe International Education Foundation. The Norman Rowe Foundation is a subcommittee of the British Association of Oral and Maxillofacial Surgeons. It has an educational mandate to develop and promote the specialty in particular and medical education in general, where there's been recent conflict in post-war countries, for instance. The mission was triggered following an appeal by a oral and maxillofacial surgeon based in the UK who is of Nepalese origin, and it was in the wake of the devastation following the earthquake in early 2015. We led a team of 4 surgeons, and we used our skill set in surgery as well as education to help empower people to learn about acute trauma care, because that is something that has not been very well introduced in Nepal. It's been very sporadic and ad hoc. We had the opportunity of traveling around Nepal. I came across this lady who was a 28-year-old female who had sustained an orbital floor fracture. She has had primary surgery after her injuries, and she was not happy about the outcome. So we set the wheels in motion and we planned the procedure, both virtually as well as on paper. We had a stereolithographic model made, a plastic model of the lady's part of the skull showing her eye sockets, and we managed to visualize the defects, and we managed to set the wheels in motion in planning the reconstruction. The reason I prefer using customized implants and patient-specific solutions is that I think it delivers accurate reconstructions, and we know exactly where the implant's going to be placed, and therefore the room for error is incredibly low, and it will also reduce costs because it has a good financial implication in the sense of saving theatre time for us.
We've never actually seen the patient or met the patient, but we were able to do so through emailing the CT data over or sending it via CD. This allows us to use our equipment and our software in order to give the patient what they need and be able to succeed in surgery. So we then took the 3D reconstruction from Mimics into a software called Freeform. We then create a plate, and the plate is printed at Renishaw. It's still yet to be proven, but we do believe that a custom-made titanium 3D printed plate can be equal to or exceed a traditional method.
I'm part of the development engineering team, and I work closely alongside production during the finishing and printing of the implants themselves. Within Renishaw, this is a typical case, but perhaps within the wider industry, a custom case like this wouldn't be used so much. I think additive manufacturing and 3D printing in general offers the designers far greater freedom when designing implants for custom patients like this. And also, I think the features that you can design will make sure the implants are much better for patients in the future. Working in this industry and making these parts, it's nice to see that you actually have an effect on a real person. I like to think that designers and technicians, and perhaps surgeons as well, will see the massive benefits that 3D printing and the freedom it gives.
It's so nice to see you, Sashi. You've done very, very well. I'm really happy for you. You look great. You look fantastic.
She's very happy about it that you all have come to place and operate it for her.
Excellent.
So she's very thankful for you.
Namaste.
Yes, so that was one case where a group of doctors and engineers and PhD scholars from Germany have visited Nepal uh, for carrying out a surgery of this lady for maxillofacial surgery. And this Rienshaw is a German company who are into developing or giving solutions for different sectors of 3D printing. So the overall benefits of using additive manufacturing in medical field can be clubbed in this slide. So it can be used for personalized pre-surgical treatment and for pre-operative planning, customized surgical tools and prostheses, study of osteoporotic conditions, testing different device in specific pathways, improving medical education, patient education, storage of rare cases for educational purposes, improve the forensic practices, bioprinting, personalized drug 3D printing, customizing synthetic organs. So these are the few major sectors where 3D printing can be applied in the sector of medical field. However, with the advancement of technology and utilization to the greater extent, this can be expanded in each and every medical field. So what are the different kinds of materials that are being used with respect to 3D printing in medical sector? So whatever we use in engineering sector cannot be used, the same material cannot be used over here. So the AM structures, here you can see the different kinds of additive manufacturing parts that are developed using 3D printing. So this is the upper limb assistive device produced through fuse deposition modeling. So fuse deposition modeling is one common additive manufacturing machine that we can see everywhere. So this is the upper limb assistive device which was developed by FDM. So in figure, this is of material ABS, acrylonitrile butadiene styrene. So this is a titanium striker triathlon knee. This is a titanium alloy hip implant. This is titanium fusion cage. And this is a cranial device produced through selective laser melting technique, and the device is PEEK. And again, this is a polymer. These three are metals and these two are polymers. So like that, different applications can be seen by using different materials with respect to additive manufacturing process. So here are the three basic definitions with respect to utilization of materials in medical field. So the biomaterial, what is biomaterial? It is a non-viable material used in medical device intended to interact with biological system. Implant is whatever we insert inside a body. Any medical device made from one or more material that is intentionally placed within the body, either totally or partially buried beneath the epithelial surface. So biomaterial can be, it is used over the body, and implant is used inside. Prosthesis, it is a device that replaces a limb, organ, or tissue of the body. So this is an example of prosthesis. So nowadays, we have different kinds of materials that are being used and already being used. So the first and most commonly used is titanium alloys. So the titanium alloy application can be seen in dental implants, femoral stents, pacemaker cans, heart valves, fracture plates, spinal cages. Cobalt chromium alloys are used in bearing surfaces, heart valve stents, pacemaker leads. Platinum group alloys are used as electrodes. Nitinol is, this is a shape memory application. This is another very emerging field with respect to materials, that is shape memory materials, and shape memory applications are also seen with respect to application in the medical field of 3D printing. Stainless steel are used as stunts and orthopedic implants, alumina for bearing surfaces, calcium phosphate in bioactive surfaces and bone substitutes. Carbon is also used for heart valves. UHNW polyethylene bearing surfaces, PEEK as spinal cages, PMMA bone cement intraocular lenses, silicone soft tissues augmentation, insulating leads, and pathological devices. Polyurethane again is a polymer, pacemaker lead insulation, polyester textile vascular graft, and heart valves. So here we have a combination of metals and polymers as well with respect to utilization of material for different applications. So here we quickly go through some of the case studies that are being done. So here is a 3D printing restores lost smile and faith of a brave wounded BSF Jawan. So this has happened in 2017. So he had lost an eye during combat with respect to Maoists in that area, and he had lost his right eye, and a part of skull was completely damaged. So in 2017, a BSF Jawan, Chopse Sanctum, was hit by a bullet fired by a Maoist. So the bullet directly went through his skull, destroyed his right eye and part of his cranial bone, which disfigured his face. So you can see at the left image, his face was slightly disfigured because of the passing of the bullet through his eye and damaging the cranial bone. So in 2018, a cranial implant conducted by using 3D printing was done to him, and now he has completely recovered. And you can see how 3D printing has helped to retain or gain back his earlier form with respect to utilization of this facility in 3D in medical industry. So what they did was the doctors turned to 3D printing technology, and with the help of 3D printing, the doctors conducted a custom cranial implant to restore the affected part of the skull. So Dr. Chandrakar was a person who operated him. He added the final touches to the reconstruction procedure by placing custom eye prosthesis. So here again, the part of the cranial that had to be replaced, cranial bone, was developed using 3D printing technology. So you can see here, front bone lost and right eye area damaged. So you can see here. So this was completely replaced by developing a 3D model. And after the successful operation, he had regained back what he was before. So this is an example of pre-operative communication using 3D printing. So here, this is a case of a baby girl who had presented with atrioventricular and ventrioatrial discordance, a complex type of heart lesion that accounts for less than 1% of infants with congenital heart disease alongside a ventricular septal defect with pulmonary stenosis. So this is for a small infant. The case had occurred. The surgeon was particularly keen to understand the relationship of great arteries to the VSD and to gain the clear understanding of how best or how closely this ventricular septal defect to the aorta without compromising this atrioventricular valve function or developing a left ventricular outflow obstruction. So doctor wanted to analyze this because it was very small, and to operate it also it would require very high amount of precision and different kinds of tools. So for this, they 3D printed the model with the best resemblance of the heart, which can change the appearance from looking at a CT to looking at the real life heart in theater. Having a 3D model in advance and planning allows all medical team to have one view on the patient's heart. So developed a 3D model of this patient clearly gave a good image and understanding, and all the doctors who participated in this operation had a clear idea of what had to be done. So here is another case where again a cranial bone was developed using titanium and it was operated. This is for a 68-year female patient with benign growth from the left side of her cranium, which had caused a tumor that arises from the meninges. And this tumor, whatever had arise, they had to remove it by cutting this cranium bone, right? So the CT scan revealed the growth was expanding outwards into the skull bone. The patient needed to remove the growth and a cranioplasty to rebuild her skull. So again, using CT scanning, the images in the DICOM file were converted to a CAD file, and a particular design was developed towards the requirement of what has to be placed. So here you see, this is the model that was 3D model, and how they have to cut it and how they have to place this titanium sheet, whatever they had developed, to the covering over this cut part. So here is a skull model. Before operation, they had practiced this, and during the operation, you can see here how they had operated by placing this titanium implant. So this implant extended 8 mm past the cut margin, giving an 8 mm offset allowed for cutting tool radius and standard screw diameter, and was designed for 1.5 mm diameter screws. And so according to the requirement of the patient, this was designed, which gave a clear path for utilization of screws and cutting tool to be operated in a very smooth manner. So coming to additive manufacture during the times of COVID-19, many sectors have played a greater role in this. So this is one of the contribution by NITK Surathkal, Professor G.V. Gangadharan and Dr. Prithviraj U from the Center of System Design at NITK Surathkal. They had been working with state and national team to double the capacity of ventilator availability to 3D printed components for circuit splitter and flow regulator for devices for multiple patient lung ventilation. So this were the 3D printed split face masks and ventilator splits. So with circuit of ventilator was 3D printed, and this is the face mask, what you can see, face shield and face mask. So all these were printed at NITK Surathkal with collaboration of state and central teams, so that during the shortage of these ventilators, these were the parts that were actually needed during the uh, severe times of COVID-19 in India. So similarly, where it originated initially, that is China, so they also had adopted the technology of 3D printing to overcome their difficulties. So each house was built using the technology of 3D printing for the purpose of isolation, and this was developed using a robotic arm using quick hardening concrete, and it was built approximately in 2 hours. Each house had a carpet area of 10 square meter, and the height of each house was 2.8 meter, which was quickly developed for the purpose of isolation in China. The Boston-based additive manufacturing company Formlabs, they efficiently working on producing 3D printed test swabs for conducting COVID-19 tests. So when the huge amount of COVID patients emerged, the testing became very difficult because of non-availability of these swabs. So one of the Boston company in USA started developing this using the process of additive manufacturing, and they are producing 75 to 150,000 test swabs on daily basis that would provide the hospitals with sufficient kits for testing. Another group in China, Vanguard Group, Hunan Vanguard Group, they developed the spectral frame for medical usage using the process of additive manufacturing. So the doctors who were treating the COVID patients, we had a study that the infection would spread through the eyes as well. So the doctors in China had been given with these frames, which were again developed using additive manufacturing process. So this is how additive manufacturing had emerged in different sectors during the time of COVID-19. So we have different tools that are used for 3D bioprinting. So the 3D printers that can be used are RepRap. This is an online resource for all things 3D printing, including how to build custom 3D printers. And Finberg et al., this group recently released a complete set of instruction along with .stl file to print a large volume syringe pump extruder for desktop 3D printers. So the files, if you want to 3D print, can be easily available with respect to these two websites. The 3D CAD model can be developed using NIH 3D Print Exchange or Thingiverse, MakerBot. Again, these are open source softwares. Slicing softwares where the input has to be given to the 3D printing can be done using Slice3R or Cura or Reptier Host, etc. or Petri printer. Some of them are open source and some have to be paid. And the resources where you can know largely about the 3D printing in medical sector can be done through BioWare, CellLink, or MBO 3D. So these are the different resources where you can get a clear picture of 3D models with respect to medical field. So the end part of the discussion, medical application of 3D printing are already extensive and are growing rapidly. Additive manufacturing technology advances not only we can expect the cost of hardware to decrease, but we can also expect new and unique materials to develop that can improve its medical application. Printing of difficult anatomies from patient imaging files for planning complex surgeries in an emerging application that may soon become routine in numerous medical centers. So now it is rarely we find in well-versed hospitals, but in the near term, we could see this happening across all the medical centers. Optimization of the key processing parameters of additive manufacturing and the development of wider selection of biomaterial are necessary in the future. Working on different kinds of materials, what it has to be done and other things have to be, can be taken as a study of research. So this completes my today's topic. Thank you, everyone. Any questions? Hello?
So the session is open for any questions. You can please do ask to Dr. Vijay. You can post it in the chat box, or else you can unmute yourself. You can unmute now. You can unmute yourself and ask, or post it in the chat box. Any questions? You can please post it. I'll read it out for Dr. Vijay. Okay, sir, we have one question. What are the open source software available for slicing?
So as of now, what widely open source software that is being used is Cura software, which can be widely available, and many of the 3D printers enthusiasts are using this for slicing purposes. And it is very user friendly when compared to other open source softwares.
Okay, sir. So we have one more question. Size of the component is one of the main limitation in 3D printing. So what are its challenges? I think they are trying to ask that.
Yeah. So this again depends on what is the application that we are looking at. So now we can see the house is being 3D printed recently. Last 2 months back, IIT Madras, first Indian 3D printed house was inaugurated, and then in different countries across the globe, and even in Europe and US, large amount of houses are 3D printed nowadays. So size is not a constraint if you're looking at a particular application. So, however, in medical sector, if you want to develop a certain tissue or an organ or a cell or whatever it is, so the size of the 3D printer that we require should be very small, and that is more than sufficient with what build volume that we have nowadays. Also for development of research purposes, for research purpose, or development of mechanical components, testing for mechanical properties or thermal properties. Again, the 3D printer, what we have now is fine. But however, if you want to develop a 3D printer to manufacture an automotive component or something like that, then it would be difficult. But however, with the invention of new technologies and new methodologies, this would not be a constraint at all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I hope that has answered your question, Mr. Devraj Amar. Any other questions? Okay, sir. Mr. Devraj is asking dental applications for this. Are there any dental applications with 3D printing?
Yes, we have large amount of dental application with respect to 3D printing. A crown for a teeth, a particular teeth can be developed using this, and it has already been developed. The dentures are being developed using 3D printing. The structure, the for the purpose of filling a particular gap in a set, it can be used. So like that, different applications are there with respect to dental field as well. Ceramic group materials to be used. No, it not only ceramic that we use in dental application, it can be anything. In certain cases, we require a titanium implant or different kinds of material with an amalgamation of ceramic as well. So only ceramic may not be the solution. So again, the large amount of research have to be carried out with respect to different kinds of materials that we are going to use.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yeah. Dr. P. Suresh is asking, sir, is there any metallic 3D printer available nearby Bangalore?
As we know, as I have the knowledge, there are two places where metallic 3D printer is available in Bangalore. One is Wipro 3D and another one is Intech Additive Manufacturers in Peenya. So these are the two places where metallic additive manufacturing can be found in Bangalore.
Okay, thank you. I hope sir has made a note of it. Sir, we have a question from Prakash Shetty. 3D print, okay. 3D printed implant product should be compatible with human body, means is it compatible? And is it useful for electric harness system, especially for integrating electric sensors and antennas?
So utilization of implants is a study, or implants have already been used in human system. Like we have stunts that are used, we have steel plates and rods that are already used as implants in the human body. So whatever implants we have, it is of a standard size. Either it may be titanium or stainless steel or whatever it is. So the same materials, if we can utilize 3D printing to develop it for a particular patient, then it can be easily done and it can easily fit to the given space, whatever is there in an individual's body. So implants would not be a problem inside a human body at all. And nowadays we have smart materials that after a certain prolonged usage of those implants, it will merge inside the body and become a part of it. Like it will melt off and a muscle or a tissue will be developed over it. So those kind of materials are also into existence. So implants would not be a problem at all. So 3D printing is useful for electrical harness systems, especially for integrating electronic sensors and antennas. Yes, surely, madam. This is 3D printing has made its inways towards the printing of circuits as well. And also to, I don't know whether it is you're asking with respect to basically electrical system or utilization of sensors inside a human body. So in either of the cases, this is going to be working, because recently we saw sensor is being implanted inside a brain of a monkey, where the signals was sent thought of your mind, the of your hand, the work was done. So this was recently given by Elon Musk in one of his study, one of his experiment, where he developed a biochip. So this biochips can be developed using 3D printing, where a complete circuit can be developed without any conventional form of manufacturing, but in the form of additive manufacturing only.
Thank you, sir. I hope it has answered your question, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have any more questions. So I'd like to end the session over here. So once again, I formally thank you on behalf of Department of Mechanical Engineering, DSE, for coming and giving this presentation. It was really very interesting and informative, because nobody would have thought that it would come into medical application where a child in a mother's womb, just based on its sound technology sensor, it can be made into a model and kept as a memory. So you can just imagine how fastly it is growing and how vastly it is getting into medical sector. So thank you for informing on this particular session, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I like to thank again Dr. Keshavamurthy, Department of Mechanical Engineering and AICT, and Atul for giving me this opportunity to have one session in the FDP of 3D printing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So, dear participants, our next session will start at 12 p.m. It will be by Dr. Manchaya, who is from NIT Warangal. So, it is going to be an interesting session. Please do join us at 12 p.m. sharp.
Hello.